This week, Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist closed playgrounds and basketball courts here in the city, part of an effort to contain the novel coronavirus outbreak. Mayor Sundquist joins us live now to talk more about the city's ongoing efforts to contain it. Mayor, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Justin. I'm excited to be here and talk to you about some of the things we've been doing to control the spread of COVID-19 here in the city of Jamestown.
And first off, I wanted to ask, what has led up to the decision to close these playgrounds and basketball courts here?
Well, as we started to get over the last weekend, we noticed the weather was getting warmer. We saw more people congregating in our parks, but more importantly, they were starting to use playground equipment and use our basketball courts. Looking at that, the one thing we want to do is try to reduce any potential spread. And those are areas where when we have people getting way too close to one another, or when we have children playing on equipment that may not be sanitized every couple hours, becomes a huge problem for our community. So in conjunction with our Parks Department, we were able to close down all of our playground equipment and our basketball courts. And in speaking with Councilwoman Karuba, she recommended that we reach out to the school district. So I spoke with the superintendent and to ensure that our kids are safe, he has also agreed to close down all of the playgrounds and basketball courts on the school property as well.
Now, with parks still being open, what is your recommendation for residents who maybe want to try to get outside and enjoy some of the weather?
Well, I've said all along, I want to encourage our residents to enjoy our over 500 acres of parkland here in the city of Jamestown. But we want to do so safely and maintaining social distance. So get out there, walk your dog, walk with your family, leave room, leave space, and enjoy just some of the parkland that we have.
Now, as for the COVID outbreak here locally, do you know if we have any confirmed cases in Jamestown yet? I know the county has released a new map, but none of that information specifically identifies municipalities in the area.
So the county is not identifying any cases based on municipalities. They're simply doing it based on 4 quadrants, 4 areas of the county. So there's no way for us to know if there is indeed someone in Jamestown that has been infected by COVID-19. However, I have said all along, going back a couple months now, that having a case here in Jamestown is a matter of when, not if. We were going to get it either way, and we wanted to make sure our residents are prepared. And I have to say, I've actually been really grateful to the people here in the city of Jamestown. They're heeding our warning from the beginning. They're staying home. They're maintaining some social distance, and they're really doing the things we need to do to finally get over this curve, stop the spread, and move on back with life.
Now, this week, your office announced that it has extended the closure of City Hall through April 15th. Can you explain to us what this means for city services?
Absolutely. So all of our city offices are essentially closed to the public. You can still call or email our essential staff, our department heads, still maintain office hours. They still come in every single day, but 100% of our non-essential workforce is at home, either working from home or just trying to maintain and keep away from other people. The governor had asked us to do that. We wanted to lead by example here in the city. We sent people home. We know this makes some difficulties for residents who want to try to get some things done. But at the end of the day, this is something that we all need to do, which is stay home, only go out if necessary, if essential. And as a city, we're practicing the same thing.
Now, in addition to that extension, it was announced that the city has suspended parking regulations and closed some parking garages. Why was that step taken?
So one of the things we wanted to do was early on allow, especially downtown metered spots, for people to use them without have to paying. We understand how difficult of a time this is, and we know that there are essential businesses here downtown. So we opened up all of the metered parking spots. We've also asked our garage providers, which is AllPro, to make sure that their employees also distance and that they aren't put at risk. So we didn't close down the parking garages. We actually opened them up and made sure that there was no one there to collect money or potentially risk their lives with parking in and out of the ramps.
I see. So if someone is coming downtown for whatever reason, maybe even to try to walk to enjoy, obviously with social distancing at the front of their mind, um, there's no fee on parking whether you'd be in a garage or on the street.
That's correct. The only thing we do want to remind residents of is there is still alternate parking in the city of Jamestown as of April 1st. It now has moved based on the month. So you don't have to change your side of the road if you're parking on our roadways from day by day, but now it's month by month. We found that a lot of people were parking on both sides of the road. It makes it very difficult for our public safety officers to get through either with a fire truck or a police car. And so making sure that cars stay on one side of a road is really to help move things along in the city.
Now, local businesses seem to be on the top of the mind of many, especially with some shops now deciding to close temporarily, others finding creative ways to better serve their customers. What have you seen in regards to local businesses and adapting to the changes?
Well, the one thing that is really incredible is that we have such a resilient community that really did adapt to these changes. I understand how difficult it is to make the decision to close your small business, to tell your employees that you have to, they have to go home, they can't come to work. This is a very difficult thing. But while you're asking, I think our business community has done wonderful things. They've come together. Some manufacturers have retooled and are now going to be making masks and other protective gear, ventilator parts, things that will be used across New York State and across this country. I'm proud to say that a lot of our businesses have heeded that call and are also making the adjustments they need to ensure that not only do they stay home and stay healthy, but their customers stay home and stay healthy.
And I want to get your take on the local medical response to COVID-19 and now a new site here at Jones Memorial Hospital in Jamestown for people to get tested. When you heard that news, have you been in contact with officials to try to get this going? What was your reaction to it?
I'm glad to see that the hospital does have a collection site. I think that across New York State, we are still dealing with a lot of issues with testing. There just aren't enough test kits to go around. I'd love to see more people getting tested. I'd love to see a drive-through testing location. We're not there yet, but this is definitely a step in the right direction, a place where people can go and actually provide the specimens for testing. It helps us better understand where we are as a community, and it's going to be a good thing for our county overall. I've been saying all along, we want more tests. We need more testing capabilities here in Chautauqua County, but we are very much limited to what we have here across the state, which is a big mix of both federal and state issues.
That drive-through testing that you mentioned, is that something that we could see going down the road?
Unfortunately, that's going to be up to the county and the county health department, so I would defer to them on that. Obviously, it's something that we would love to see in a lot of different areas, but we recognize that there are much greater needs across the state right now as well.
Yeah, certainly. What is your biggest concern and top priority as this pandemic continues to roll on in the next few weeks, if not months?
My top priority is the safety and security of our residents here in the city of Jamestown, making sure that they are staying home, that they're doing the things they need to do to stay healthy. But when you talk about just the government in general, I speak to our federal and state representatives a lot. We might be a small city, but we have a pretty strong voice. And as I speak to them, I'm very concerned that we don't have a real clear guidance, both statewide and federally, on how this is going to impact our economy here in Jamestown and in Chautauqua County. We need to have a better response to ensure that our residents are going to be taken care of, and that as a city and as a state, that we are going to be okay after we are done with this, because we're spending a lot of money to make sure people's needs are met, and we're not sure we're going to see that going forward. So that is a big concern that we've had. I will also tell you one of my other big concerns is going to be housing after we move over this crisis. Being able to ensure that people have adequate places to live. It's a sentiment that other mayors across the U.S. have echoed. I was on a call just yesterday with several mayors from some of the larger cities, such as Chicago and parts of Maryland, and we all talked about how we don't know what's going to happen with housing after this crisis is over.
Right, and I know the governor's sort of pause on people not having to necessarily pay rent. And it seems like there is confusion out there because at the same time, landlords need that income, especially if that's their business. In regards to that specifically, what's your stance / recommendation? If people can obviously pay rent, that's something. Is that something they should continue to do?
Yeah, so I've had a lot of landlords and renters call about this, call my office. What we're telling our landlords and our renters, pay what you can. You're still going to owe the money. You just can't get evicted right now. So pay what you can to the landlord. We've been telling all the landlords, if you can get some money for it, get it. If you are a renter and you have some available funds to do it, pay it just to protect yourself during this very difficult time. As a city, we are looking at potential loans for businesses to help restart the economy after this goes away. We're also looking at ways that we can try to help our renters get through some of this very difficult time, both renters and landlords. And we hope to have some more information soon about those things.
And finally here, what do you want the citizens of Jamestown to know as we continue to move forward through this period of what seems like great uncertainty?
It is great uncertainty, but I will tell you, having only been in this position now, let's see, we're going on our 4th month. I will tell you that the city of Jamestown is probably over-prepared for dealing with this pandemic at this point. We are ready. We're able to handle anything that comes our way. And I'll tell you, we've got some great public safety staff that are there to help out our residents. But more importantly, I want to continue to remind our residents to stay home if they can. Only go out if essential, or if you need to just get some fresh air. That's the most important part at this point, and to just maintain that social distance as we go along in the next what could be weeks or even another month.
And we were just actually talking about that point there with your new term as mayor, not just for you, but for County Executive Wendell. It seems like a lot of young officials, so to speak, are being thrown into the fire now and really under the thumb to try to make tough decisions. I think I know the answer to this question, but when elected, did you ever imagine anything like this?
Absolutely not. There's no handbook for this. There's no playbook. I wish there was, but there isn't. But I'll tell you, a crisis really brings people together. And as I tell my staff and all of our employees at City Hall, whenever there's a crisis, what people will remember are the actions you take. And that's why in the city we are taking decisive actions in order to make sure our residents are safe.
All right, Jamestown Mayor Eddie Sundquist joining us today. Sir, thank you so much for being here. We know you're busy and we really appreciate the time.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend.